means we are into summer equinox, or spring equinox. Oop, my bad. Wow. Well, I don't know about you guys, but life has certainly speeded up for me. It's gotten wonderfully busy at the store, and with comes that means have to make more stuff. Oh, that's really hard. I know. For those of you that don't know me, I own a rock shop in Honoka'a, Hawaii, and that's on the Big Island. And I sell some really special healing tools made out of angelite, and I do a lot of energy work, free pain and stress release, free mini massages if you can make it over, and I offer soul retrievals. So put that aside. Tonight I wanted to get into a little bit about what's going on in the world of nuclear and what's happening to our Earth, because, you know, nobody is talking about it. And I have some readouts on about 100 cities in the United States. And I know this goes all around the world. So, you know, for you that are everywhere else but in the United States, you can imagine what your radiation level is like, because radiation does travel, it doesn't stay in a box, and we're being radiated and nuked out from Fukushima, which was a nuclear disaster that happened, oh my God, 10 years ago, and it hasn't been fixed. I mean, it's crazy. And who talks about it anymore? Do you hear anybody from the governments talking about it? Oh, hell no. Do you hear anybody report about it in the news or tell you what to do to protect yourself from radiation? I don't, because they don't. It's out of sight, out of mind. And I look at this as part of Agenda 21 and their depopulation program. So we're going to talk about that. And first I wanted to skip to Australia. And, you know, guys, I haven't forgotten about you all out there. And this wonderful woman named Leah Sales in Australia. She's the host of ABC's 7:30. Oh, wait, sorry. What is she? All right, sorry. 30-year career as a journalist. That's Leah Sales. And I read this and I went, oh my God, this woman is totally spot on. And she was asked why the powerful who abuse trust keep getting away with it. And I went, whoa, that's a pretty hefty question. So let me read it to you, because I don't know, to me is spot on, and I'm sure it's going to resonate with you no matter what country you are in. Leah Sales has admonished those in power who continually let down the Australian public. The host of the ABC 7:30 barely drew breath for 5 minutes at a Sydney media lunch this afternoon as she reeled off a long list of offenders, from phone companies to sex offenders, sports cheats, and robo-debt. I didn't even know what robo-debt is. At the event hosted by the Sydney Media Club and the Kennedy Awards at M-Bar in Sydney's Rushcutters Bay, Ms. Sales was being interviewed by ABC executive editor and head of investigations, John Lyons, about her role as anchor of a highly regarded current affairs program and her nearly 30-year career as a journalist. But after a few whimsical stories about encounters with celebrities, the journalist, known for her hard questioning of politicians, turned up the heat. Asked by Lyons, how would you describe what's going on in Australia at the moment? Sales began reflecting on the recent protest against the treatment of women. In front of an audience of around 100 people, the multiple Wakely Award winner listed all the things she thinks the Australian public is fed up with. Ms. Sales' comments, which were met with rapt applause when she finished, are repeated here verbatim. We are seeing women say that they have had enough. They've had enough of people in power using the system to enshrine their power and keep women as less powerful. But I also feel that it's fitting in a broader context about awareness of power generally, because I feel like every single night when I'm hosting 7:30 that I see stories in which people in power are exploiting or taking advantage of people with less power. In many cases, people that they have been paid to care for or have expressly said that they promise to serve, and I see it all the time, every night on the show. I feel like I'm constantly asking myself this question. Did something change in this country? Did something change that the standard for behavior now is not, I have to do the right thing, or I have to do what I promised I said I would do, but instead, how much can I get away with? I think that from what I hear people say on 7:30, Australians are sick of this kind of situation. And again, this is a worldwide problem, guys. Prove me wrong. So she goes on to say that Australians are sick of this kind of situation. They're sick of financial advisors who take people's life savings, knowing the entire time that they're fleecing them. They're sick of banks gouging their accounts with fees and charges while somehow missing large-scale money laundering. That's funneling millions of dollars overseas to terrorism or child exploitation. They're sick of highly profitable nursing homes taking money from families and then neglecting or abusing mom or dad. They're sick of financial advisors who promise to take people's life savings and help them pay for their retirement, knowing the entire time they're fleecing them. I think the unemployed, students, pensioners were pretty sick of being harassed by a powerful government department to repay debt that they never actually owed in the first place. People are tired of private health insurance constantly upping fees. Then you go to a specialist and they go, oh, sorry, it's not covered by private health. They're sick of telecommunication companies that promise the world when you sign up for the internet. And then when you're having a problem with it and it won't work, they won't pick up their phone to answer your call in any kind of timely fashion. They're sick of rich multinational companies underpaying their workers and then not even having the common courtesy to ring people when those workers are killed on the job. They're sick of priests abusing children in their care or scoutmasters. They're sick of the priests who cover up for those kind of priests. They're sick of the 59-year-old teachers who rape 15-year-old students. They're sick of government after government telling people that they'll close the gap on Indigenous life expectancy, and then decade after decade, it stubbornly remains at about 20 years. You deserve 20 years less life in Australia, apparently, if you're Indigenous. They're sick of politicians acting like public money is their own private fund and giving development deals to their mates or grants to their political allies. In the worst cases, are taking kickbacks to line their own pockets. They're sick of film producers who have won life's lotto and yet still treat young actors like they should be molested and manipulated. Even the Australian cricket team let down the ordinary Australia fan with cheating and ball tampering. You can't even trust as an Australian that you won't be made a fool of by the Australian cricket team. We are doing a good enough job in this country, or looking after the least powerful members of our society. I mean, this is night after night on 7:30 that we have these stories, and I think it's sickening to see this constant situation where powerful people and institutions exploit less powerful people. And I think from what the public says to me on the street, that they're sick of people coming on my show when they get found out and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea that was happening. Can't take any more questions about it because we've commissioned a report into it." And then that report, when it comes through, sits at the bottom drawer, gathering dust. And the same thing happens again. And then they commission another report. It's well past time that this kind of thing needs to change. What do a lot of these stories that I've mentioned have in common? Who holds the levers of power, mostly in this country, in boardrooms, in CEO suites, in media, in governments, in cabinet? I'll tell you, it's men. We are not doing a good job in this country, as you see any night when you watch 7:30, of looking after the least powerful members of our society. Wow, I hope you found that as powerful as I did. And you know who runs everybody's countries? Mostly men. What can I say? Well, I would like to say that we're going to segue into something more fun, but doing a radiation report isn't fun. And again, I'm going to bring up Fukushima, which was a nuclear disaster in Japan that happened over 10 years ago. No country's addressing it. The Japanese mob, from my understanding, is running cleanup on that site. And there's a lot of grafting, trust me. It's sad. But they're releasing radioactive material into the air, and they are definitely doing it into the ocean. You know, they've been doing it since the beginning. How we are still alive, I have no idea, other than for the grace of God. All right, so Bob Nichols from Veterans Today put this together, and he's also put together a list of 100 cities in the United States and their radiation counts. So before I get into that fun list and its gamma radiation, I want to read you a little bit on what's going on. And, you know, they didn't really want to print this and they held it off, but there was a Russian nuclear attack with lots of radiation on the USA. The ex-president's buddy, dictator Putin, played Trump perfectly. Citizens and officials just might do the right thing and shut these stationary nuclear weapons down. Realistically, the chances of that happening are slim to none. Big money rules the nuke. Not ex-President Trump, not any president. The chances of the rich owners closing their rad poison factories are non-existent. If you live within 300 miles, don't be a dummy. Take direct action and leave now. If you can't or won't leave, you will definitely die before your time. Guys, it does not matter where you are on the planet. All nuclear facilities leak, all of them. And in the United States, they're allowed at the end of the day to release an X amount of nuclear material into the air. Think about that one. All right. Our leaders had their chance and failed us miserably. If that was Putin's plan, it worked perfectly. Who was involved stateside? Ex-President Trump. The questions must be asked and the answers found. In 10 years, there has been zero official rad publicity anywhere. Gamma radiation in America increased steadily over the past 10 years and is well past the kill you dead level. How much more deadly gamma radiation have you absorbed today? If the government routinely gets a hold of your body upon your death, they remove your anus and eyeballs for radiologic analysis. These body parts give maximum and minimum absorbed radiation measurements. And this is post-death analysis. Your stolen body parts are then used as a natural-born animal dosimeter. As a result, the feds know exactly the level of radiation absorbed by American residents, citizens, and resident aliens alike. It only takes a few minutes to steal these body parts from a cadaver in a morgue. After all, who's going to care? Certainly not you. You're dead. The latest nuclear power plant disasters were in 2020. 3 of the world's big nuclear power reactors exploded and gushed huge amounts of measurable radiation into the air. One is outside of Moscow, Russia, and 2 are in the U.S. The U.S. reactors are located at Portland, Maine, and Raleigh, North Carolina. That's a whopping 134 months recorded living with these stationary nuclear weapons. This fleet of nuclear power reactors are the most complicated machines on Earth. And disaster prone from day one. The reactors' records show it is deadly to run them. The big nuclear power reactors are poisoning Americans every minute of every day. It was clearly and plainly visible to dictator Putin. So the dictator from Moscow figured out how to amp up the carnage. Putin knew the American government would not say a word, and he was right. As soon as President Biden took office, dictator Putin called on the Ruski nuke forces. The event was old history. The rad damage was permanent and deadly. Plus, the intense radiation rots the inside out in a relatively short order. Make the only rational choice and unplug, kill, and delete the reactor biz. Kill them dead. The reactor uses the immense power of the sun artificially created in a little tin pot just to boil water. How stupid is that? To make it even worse, these psychopath-run industries are rich and powerful. So how to kill the reactors? It's pretty simple to do, actually. Kill their insurance by any means necessary. The psychos who own the poison factories will shut them down themselves in short order when looking at the ongoing huge losses. Yes, kill their insurance by any means necessary. The psychos who own the poison factories will shut them down themselves in short order if the reactors are operating without government-guaranteed insurance. Kill the government-backed or funded insurance. A president with any balls would give the operators 24 hours to close over those reactors. After all, the military branches, all of them, work for him. Or this hell just gets worse. Actually, there is no or there. Things just keep getting worse and there's nothing we can do about it. Here's 10 plus years of total gamma radiation records, which I'm going to give you in a minute. Read it and weep. Those of us living now don't have a chance of surviving a normal lifespan. What's worse is we humans and the psychopaths themselves can't see, taste, or feel radioactive contamination till it is already far too great to survive. When I started this gamma radiation chronicle, the idea of 1 million counts of gamma radiation per week was a bit far-fetched. Now we are being zapped constantly in this gamma radiation hellhole. Deadly gamma radiation from 2010 to 2020 increased 10 times as measured by the responsible government agency. Never mind that the measured 1 million counts a week plus radiation was way over the gamma radiation maximum safe level. All of us, the perps included, are already irradiated forevermore. We are all the walking dead. But first, we just get plain old stupid. You may recognize it in your friends. The nuclear weapons maker and private nuclear hustlers are truly a sloppy nuclear death cult that holds sway over everyone. Gamma radiation data from government officials display recent total gamma radiation reports showing huge failures to tend to business. It is utterly evil to cover up high gamma radiation readings. That's sort of a thing criminal psychopaths do. Nuclear reactors ran wild for nearly a year in 2020 in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Portland, Maine. The nukes lost their mind when Putin's pet reactor released a huge red cloud that quickly marched its way to the Northeast United States months ago. Once set up there, it spread rad poison across the states. The 3 nuke reactors are broken or sabotaged and neglected. Shut them down now. If that is even physically possible anymore. Remember the 3 destroyed reactors at Fukushima, Japan? Probably don't because nobody talks about it, but same thing. What does dictator Putin have to do with rich people's nuclear reactors anyway? Is there a big for sale rent use sign on them for foreign dictators? The nation's most populated area, the northeast U.S., is plagued by radiation poisoning from surging nuclear reactions to the north and south and Russia. This does not end well. Russian nuclear attacks conclude for now. Veterans Today, March 4th, 2021, more than 97 total gamma radiation tracking stations in the United States report that the gamma ray attack from Russia and the United States sources has ceased. The 97 tracking stations are a part of this report and have been for more than 10 years. For the latest of the gamma radiation report, I will, like I said, get to it in a few minutes. Warning, gamma radiation is lethal to life on Earth. The U.S. passed the maximum safe level years ago. All right, let me share a little bit more of 2020 summertime rad events. The recent high radiation events this summer, 2020, were started near Moscow with a nuclear reactor 30 miles outside of Moscow under Russian dictator Putin's control. A radioactive cloud was released. The rad cloud immediately headed west for thousands of miles, kilometers across Russia and Europe to the States. So the story goes. Did not take long for the giant rad cloud to park over the northeastern United States. No warnings were issued by federal authorities, though that is their job. I have no idea why the rad cloud parked. It could have been caught in a natural weather circulation above the northeastern United States, or one caused by humans. Many countries have that capability. It is widely known in the trade as the poor man's atomic bomb. A word about cesium-137 from number 6. Local American reactor owners could have seen an opportunity to purge some of their built-up rad and blame it on the Ruskies. Theoretically, the NRC distributed their classified notifications. Secondly, the Nuclear Weapons Lab would launch sniffer planes to collect rad samples, and not one word has been released. Within days, the Nuke Weapons Lab knew not only what country did it, they would also know the mines that produced the uranium and H-bond factories that made the plutonium. So Putin makes his move. Does anybody think it was former Trump pal Putin or local sold-out rich guy nuke operators, or both? Make no mistake about it, the perps will be found. The president should demand their arrest.
Bodega, Alpha and Omega. Siamese sailors sell celery sandwiches. Sawing-a-bada, serving platter.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
Did you want to try reading that line on the script there?
Oh, yeah, let's see. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, that one?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just not warmed up yet. Shouldn't be long. Detector test.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive today.
The marmot mangled my mushy pork pancake.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Will he do that and stand up to Putin? Don't have a clue. However, I do know the unusual and dangerous rad cloud that was parked over the northern eastern United States, it still is. That's weird. That I know of, none, zero, zilch of the expensive TV weathercaster operations noticed the rad cloud. I do not know why the lethal rad cloud did not move for weeks. Rad readings are still elevated, from a summertime annualized high. Oh my God, of 131,654 CPM recorded in Raleigh, North Carolina. Of course, in terms of highly radioactive America, the gamma radiation has declined to an annual rate of 80 million counts a year at Portsmouth, Maine, 90 million counts a year in Raleigh, North Carolina. Both towns host old, embrittled, most likely leaking nuclear power plants. No mystery there. Except these terror monsters are gushing gamma radiation, not just leaking a few gammas. Rad counts remain severely elevated. Gamma radiation in the wild escapes only from nuclear reactors and detonated or broken nuclear weapons. At the surface of the Earth, there are no sources. Gamma radiation is and always has been incompatible with life on the planet. How much gamma radiation is it? It's more than enough gamma radiation to kill every living thing on Earth. Two questions are, how much gamma radiation have you absorbed today? from 10 years ago. All right, well, I'm going to do this without trying to cry. And I want you to know anything over 20 rads is bad. And we start at the highest radiated city in the United States. And we're going to go to the lowest. All right, Colorado Springs, Colorado, 901,822,000. And I'm going to start rounding this off if that's okay with everybody. And yes, I did say 901 million. Next is Raleigh, North Carolina with 901 million. Portland, Maine, 822 million. It's surreal. That's all I can say. Little Rock, Arkansas, 798 million. Billings, Montana, 747 million. Worcester, Massachusetts, 726 million. Spokane, Washington, 720 million. Navajo Lake, New Mexico, 717 million. San Diego, California, 703 million. Augusta, Georgia, 650 million. Idaho Falls, Idaho, 650 million. Fresno, California, 639 million. Grand Junction, Colorado, 640 million. San Bernardino, California, 613 million. Denver, Colorado, 607 million. Tucson, Arizona, 596 million. Phoenix, Arizona, 598 million. Atlanta, Georgia, 593 million. Hartford, Connecticut, 594 million. Concord, New Hampshire, 585 million. Albuquerque, New Mexico, 580 million. Riverside, California, 581 million. Los Angeles, California, 567 million. Anaheim, California, 555 million. Boston, Massachusetts, 545 million. I'm sorry, 555 million. Louisville, Kentucky, 550 million. Oklahoma City, 545 million. Pierre, South Dakota, 545 million. Providence, Rhode Island, missing in action. But let's see, last year they were 486 million. Reno, Nevada, 529 million. Rochester, New York, 522 million. Bakersfield, California, 517 million. Yuma, Arizona, 518 million. El Paso, Texas, 516 million. Miami, Florida, 502 million. Mason City, Iowa, 505 million. Kearney, North Nebraska, 501 million. Pittsburgh, 498 million. Laredo, Texas, 487 million. Virginia Beach, 485 million. Tallahassee, Florida, 482 million. Kansas City, Kansas, 485 million. Rapid City, South Dakota, 478 million. Shreveport, Louisiana, 478 million. Harrisburg, Virginia, 477 million. Charleston, West Virginia, 476 million. Lexington, Kentucky, 468 million. Wichita, Kansas, 457 million. Amarillo, Texas, 454 million. Memphis, Tennessee, 451 million. New York City, 452 million. Bismarck, North Dakota, 451 million. Lincoln, Nebraska, 450 million. Richland, Washington, 446 million. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 445 million. Fort Smith, Arkansas, 440 million. Salt Lake City, 436 million. Cleveland, Ohio, 431 million. So for those that you have just listened or just tuned in, I am giving off the gamma radiation level in the United States. Omaha, Nebraska, 426 million. St. George, Utah, 432 million. Boise, Idaho, 425 million. Lockport, Nevada, New York, 418 million. Casper, Wyoming, 418 million. Fort Worth, Texas, 407 million. Carlsbad, New Mexico, 406 million. Knoxville, Tennessee, 406 million. Detroit, Michigan, 404 million. Richmond, Virginia, 396 million. Madison, Wisconsin, 389 million. Champaign, Illinois, 389 million. Philadelphia, 375 million. Birmingham, Alabama, 371 million. Chicago, Illinois, 365 million. San Jose, California, 370 million. St. Paul, Minnesota, 366 million. San Francisco, California, 364 million. Aurora, Illinois, 362 million. Eureka, California, 359 million. Des Moines, Iowa, 360 million. Burlington, Vermont, 342 million. Corpus Christi, Texas, 337 million. Las Vegas, Nevada, 340 million. Indianapolis, Indiana, 339 million. Houston, Texas, 316 million. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 313 million. Dallas, Texas, 305 million. St. Louis, Missouri, 298 million. Duluth, Minnesota, 294 million. Yaphank, New York, 285 million. Washington, D.C., 275 million. Tampa, Florida is 225 million. Fairbanks, Alaska is usually on the bottom totally, and they're at 220 million. Mobile, Alabama, how you got so low, I don't know. You're at 196 million. And the last, Paducah is 179 million. We got two Anchorage, Alaskas in. Fairbanks. Anchorage, Alaska. You're always last on the list. 171 million. Now you're thinking, wow, 179 million. That doesn't sound too bad, considering that Colorado Springs is what, at 901 million. They're closing in on 1 billion. It doesn't matter, okay? It's all bad. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. It sucks to be us right now. So what can we do to change it? Magic? Energy work? How many of you are working on it? That's what I thought. Well, what are you doing to keep yourself healthy? And, not only do you have radiation in the air, now you've got this, the COVID thing going on, and nobody's talking about building up the immune system, are they? Nobody on any level. And certainly they're not talking about radiation. They're not even talking about how cell phones can radiate your head. Or when you carry a cell phone in your pocket and you're a guy or a girl, it can help you go sterile. And guess what, guys? I think the paper in Great Britain, The Guardian, came out with an article on how guys' sperm count are so low. And oh God, girls, you're going to love this. Guys' penises are shrinking. It's what it said, honestly. So, if this is about, again, depopulation, this is really scary. So all I can do is share with you some things on what I do to cleanse myself and to stay healthy. And trust me, I'm really high maintenance, okay? Now, how many people are losing their hair? I'm not. God, please don't test me. Okay, I've got very long hair. And what do I do for that? I do a lot, okay? You go get the vitamin minerals that say hair, nail, skin. You take those. Take angelite, minerals. Your body's missing minerals if your hair is getting thin. Well, it could be, genetic, but some of it's radiation. And you need minerals to get your hair going again. So I take angelite and I put a rough piece in water and it dissolves, or I put it in a bottle of water. And then, I have to keep refilling up the water bottle because I'm getting minerals, and, I drink the water before the stone will disintegrate. Then there's a product called Knox Gelatin, and this is old school, guys, okay? Now, Knox Gelatin you can get anywhere, to grocery store, you can even get it online. And what it is, kind of like Jell-O. So I mix my Knox with fruit juice. So you put it in the refrigerator, it'll get hard like Jell-O. Cut it up into squares and then eat a few squares every day. Your hair will grow, it'll feel thicker, it'll shine. And then every now and then mix some honey and lemon juice and then plaster that in your hair. And this is really, it depends on where you live. The sun's getting stronger, but it'll highlight your hair and bring out any highlights and make it really shiny. And it's really good, especially the honey. It's good for nutrients in your hair. So what's good for the thyroid? Angelite, and that's a stone. If you wear it, it opens up your lungs and helps you breathe. And if you have asthma, it'll cut your asthma attacks down. So if by any chance you've been flying or you've been around a lot of radiation, I would do is go to your local garden center and go pick up peat moss, and then put a blanket, lay the peat moss down. You might want to put plastic down and then the peat moss, and then put something, like a blanket over the peat moss, and then you sleep on it. If you can sleep on it for 24 hours, the peat moss will literally draw the radiation out of your body. Sunflowers will also absorb radiation. So if you can plant sunflowers around your house, or even Google, what plants will absorb radiation, and then do it. Plant some around your house. Miso soup is good. Kelp, depending on where, you've got to be very careful that you don't get the kelp from Japan. And, I also do a daily cleanse. And I take a bath. I put salt, baking soda, and hydrogen peroxide in it. And you can use Epsom salt. That's great. And you want to put in at least a pound, okay? Because anything less salt-wise, your body's going to take on water. It's going to absorb it. A pound or more of salt will now draw out toxins out of your body. Now, the baking soda also pulls out toxins and radiation, okay? The hydrogen peroxide puts oxygen back into your body. So the formula for me is I'll put in either a pint or a quart of hydrogen peroxide in the bathtub, depending on how I feel or what I've been through, a cup of baking soda, and at least a pound of salt, and soak in it as long as you want. This is my time. I take a movie in with me. I love a hot bath. So, it's up to you on the time, but at least do it for 20 minutes. Now, if you don't have a bathtub, what I would do is go get something you can soak your feet in, and put the baking soda and the water, the salt and the baking soda and the hydrogen peroxide in there, and then soak your feet and allow, it to be drawn out through your feet, and then be very careful, and throw that water away because it's very, very toxic. Now, if I feel like I'm coming down with anything, a cold or the sniffles, I will take liquid vitamin D3. I have found the pill form for me doesn't work as well. There's something about the liquid. When you take the liquid, it's like giving your body this incredible energy boost. So if I'm feeling sick, I'll take, like a capful in the morning, a capful at night, a capful the next day, and then I cut it down depending on how I feel. And vitamin D is something our body needs, especially when we're not getting enough sun. And even then, they chemtrail the sun, so it stops us from getting all the rays that we need. And actually, when I go pick up this stuff, if I go to the grocery store or Walmart, if I can, I'll buy, 12 bottles of hydrogen peroxide at a time because I use so much of it. And I know if you can do it, give yourself an enema. And if you don't know what that is, what it is you get a bag of water, and it's got this little, real long tube that you kind of stick up your rear, grease it first, okay? And, mix the bag with warm water. You can put aloe in it. You can put a little bit of salt. You can even do a coffee enema, and I'll explain how to do that. So we'll just say use water, and, you get in the shower, and then you put the tube up your rear, and you push as much water as you can up there. And then you lay down for as long as you can, hold it. And then you're going to run to the toilet with exploding ass, as my daughter calls it. Now, a coffee enema, you got to really be careful. There was a time when I was really, really sick. I had a lot of fungus in my body and mold, and I had to clear that out. So I would do a coffee enema at 11 o'clock at night, and I could be able to go to sleep. Okay. And then as I started getting healthy, it's like I did a coffee enema in the morning. I was so wired. Oh my God. I cleaned the house and I started cleaning the yard. And then I went down to the store and I started cleaning the store. And I went, oh my God, this is so crazy. I'm on this coffee buzz. And no, I don't drink coffee. Okay. So it really, hit me. But it's like a dear friend said, it was a little bit too much coffee in there. So you don't fill it up with coffee. You might take 1 teaspoon and make, like a cup of coffee or a whole, small pot of coffee from that. And then you take a cup of that and put it in the bag and fill the rest up with water. Okay. And you might want to do it in the morning, just in case it wires you. And if you do get wired, then back it down. Easy. All right. Well, wasn't this a fun evening? So tomorrow is spring equinox. God, I always get solstice and equinox mixed up. Okay, one of those two. And it's a very high energy day. So if you can do some chants tomorrow, calling, may divine enlightenment descend on everyone now. May divine enlightenment awaken within everyone now. It'll really help the planet and it'll really raise the energy. And you can do that around anybody and anything. May divine enlightenment descend around the Nazis now. May divine enlightenment awaken within all Nazis now. May divine enlightenment descend on all Republicans now. May divine enlightenment awaken within all Republicans now. May divine enlightenment descend on our kids now. May divine enlightenment awaken within our kids now. It's endless. And it's nice to do each chant 3 times using the power of the spoken word. And if nobody's around, then do it. Because the more feeling you put into it, the more things are going to manifest. And Lordy, we need that light now. Well, it's an exciting time, and I would say check out my website, but it's being revamped. I'm really excited about it. And when it's all done, I'm going to brag about it and tell you where to go because this company is incredible. Oh my God, they are from India, and they have just gone way beyond my expectations. Yeah, I feel really, really blessed to have this company revamp my website, which is like 20 years old. I was due. So that's exciting. That should be hopefully coming up this week. And if you want to do energy work, you can catch me tomorrow live on Facebook. I'm going to be doing it at 9 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning Hawaiian time. So that would be 8:30, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2:30 Eastern time, 11:30 at 11:30 Pacific time. So if you want to do more energy work, tune in and we will go live. And, the more the merrier. You're all welcome. Next week, we will be doing energy work. It's time to get back into that and start negating darkness energy and giving energy to everything good. And again, tomorrow, just do some chants. May divine enlightenment awaken within everyone now. May divine enlightenment. I was dyslexic. Sorry. Live radio. May divine enlightenment descend on everyone now. May divine enlightenment awaken within everyone now. Yay! So this is Cathy Bilsky, the Quantum Leap.